Hello and welcome to Storyboard. I'm Shivani Gharat. Storyboard18's recent event, Power of Purpose Sustainability Edition, held in Delhi, brought together a diverse group of leaders to discuss the critical role of the young generation and business leaders in driving sustainable practices in India. In today's special episode, we are going to bring you some of the key conversations from the event. The event kicked off with the opening remarks from the Minister of Food Processing Industries, Chirag Paswan. In his keynote address, Paswan went on to share the country has enough abundance to fulfill global food demand. The minister's speech was followed by a special address by Angelo George, CEO, Bisleri International, who gave an exhaustive presentation on some of the company's efforts and initiatives towards being purposeful and sustainable. And then, during the session on making sustainability the foundation of modern business, Rohit Kapoor, CEO Swiggy Food Marketplace, highlighted that the IPO-bound Swiggy is in the business of spreading joy and not in the business of delivering food. While addressing Swiggy's upcoming IPO, Kapoor said his approach hasn't changed towards sustainability despite Swiggy intending to go public. Kapoor compared Swiggy's IPO with a person turning 18 and getting their driving license. Listen in to find out more.
Straight off the bat, first question, Swiggy's upcoming IPO, how has it changed your approach towards sustainability?
It hasn't actually. I think it's whether you are a private company or a public company, it doesn't matter today. Because for a simple reason that we don't look at sustainability purely from a lens of compliance. If that was the case, of course, it matters when you're public and you're seeking a certain kind of investors. But today, our consumer, our society, people who interact with, employees, everybody has a very clear bar on what they expect the company to do. And I think that is far more scrutiny and pressure from a public market facing debut.
Yeah, and what will be the next few months look like?
I keep saying it's like turning 18, right? You get a driving license.
Yeah.
After you drive the car well. So I know there's a lot of excitement and we make it a bit of a public spectacle in India to do an IPO. But IPO is a very normal process. It's a different set of investors. Hopefully it goes well. We have fingers crossed. But because it's a pit stop, no? We're just a 10-year-old company. It's a pit stop. We'll IPO. We'll be listed. Other things will happen. But I generally don't see this as something that keeps me awake at night, for sure. Let me put it this way.
It doesn't keep you awake at night, but if you look around us, we are engulfed with everything fast. Fast fashion, fast food, 10-minute delivery, everything, is fast. We want it quickly. Having said that, coming from Swiggy, how do you approach, this fast, keeping sustainability in mind?
Actually, if there is one thing which is quite aligned to sustainability, is fast delivery. Let me explain. When we look at our footprint of what we can influence or impact, the biggest probably will be, and the study is still on, so I don't have exact data, but the biggest is likely to be emissions, right? Or just the number of kilometers on the road and what kind of vehicle you're using. The fast delivery happens not because of speed. It happens because the point of supply comes closest to your point of residence, or you're getting supply, whether it's quick commerce or Bolt now, which we just launched on food, where we're actually supplying from a Starbucks, from Rameshwaram Cafe, from 10 all kinds of brands. It is within 2 kilometers, and that allows EVs to operate today very well, because a EV two-wheeler has you can put like battery at your pods and locations. So I think it is actually more aligned to sustainability than even the previous models.
And Rohit, you were on the street testing the delivery on Bolt. What was that experience like?
It was amazing. I think look, the reason I also went there was when we do a 10-minute delivery, the consumers actually ask us 2-3 questions, and it kept coming on LinkedIn again and again, saying, see, if it is 10 minutes, can't be fresh. Right? If it is 10 minutes, you must be putting pressure on the delivery partners to write faster. And both are untrue. Because the simple fact is, so we went to the same Chayos. Actually, I was picking up from Chayos as an order. And I said, the same menu you would get in 30 minutes. There's no different menu. It's just that all the items which are almost of the easily and fast shippable, like for example, if you have a chai or a samosa or I don't know, the only category which has not come in fully is pizza right now. So it's the same thing. It's no different. So one, we wanted to show the consumers that that's the case. Second is there's no signal to the delivery partner that it's a Bolt order, right? So there's no incentive to drive fast or slow. And then we took it out and showed that the order is coming from nearby. So all of us going out there, and even Rocky was there, so you would have maybe picked up the news that he joined us like 2-3 years back full time as a Swiggy ambassador, right? He was there. He's quite fun. So yeah, I think those 2 messages, and best part is every time I do this, I come back to my team with like 3 changes I want on the app, on this, on that.
What were the 3 changes that you asked for this time?
Minor stuff. I think it's not everything is major, but for example, just in most normal phones, the brightness when you're in the sun can be not an easy thing to see. So just highlight the things that they need to see in a very sharp color. As simple as that. Okay. Nothing dramatic.
Yeah, and tell us more about some of these social initiatives, because you also mentioned that sustainability is not just a compliance for Swiggy.
Yes, look, I think if you're talking social initiatives, the one which is closest to my heart right now, it's not strictly sustainability related, but still something which is very, very special. So I grew up in Calcutta, and Durga Puja has been sort of part of life if you're in Calcutta. And many, many years back, somebody told me that, widows are not welcome in pandals. So they're sometimes seen as a bad omen. And especially in Sundarbans, there is a very widespread phenomenon of something called tiger widows, right? Which simply means that the men go out to hunt and, gather honey, and the man-eating tigers attack them, and Bag Bidhwa, actually it's called Bag Bidhwa, in Bengali simply means a tiger widow. And then many of them had never seen a puja. They're 40-year-old women, 50-year-old women. They have never experienced what puja looks like. So this time we put Ma Durga on a boat. We created a pandal, and we took the pandal on a boat to the deepest parts of Sundarban, where they live. And then we cooked bhog on the boat, and they all had a chance to sort of many of them first time participate in an actual Durga Puja. Some of the widows there who lived there. It was just fascinating, something very crazy, but I just felt very good about it.
So Rohit, on that note, since it's a great example, typically when we look at purpose and initiatives by these businesses, it's closer to the core business of that particular organization. So with something like this,
we're in the business of spreading joy. We're not in the business of delivering food. We're not in the business of delivering grocery. Our only aim, ambition, what we live for, and what we lose sleep over also sometimes, is to provide little lift to our consumers, right? And little joys to our consumers. That's our business model. I think any other understanding is totally flawed.
Yeah, you are in the business of spreading joy, you said. Having said that, as the battle for Q-commerce intensifies, how is this purpose, or will this purpose help you get an edge in this competitive setup?
I think Q-commerce is again one of those hype cycle outcomes at this point in time. If you look at the total market, right, the grocery market is $600 billion, growing at give or take 9%. So we are adding about $40-45 billion every year in grocery. Quick commerce, अगर आप पेपर पढ़ोगे तो ऐसा लगेगा कि पूरा 90% क्विक कॉमर्स ही हो गया.
10 मिनट में iPhone डिलीवर हो रहा है. Of course, it's going to make news while people stand in the queue.
It's gimmicky, but just a simple fact. It's a $600 billion category, growing, adding 40 billion per year. Quick commerce right now is 6 billion, or sum total of everyone, right? It is not even like 5% of the market. It's going very fast. We are excited by it. I think we are super excited. Jeff Bezos was asked one thing, that in your 30 years of building Amazon, what has been sort of that 42 kind of an answer? Right? What's universally been true? He says just people want things faster and cheaper. Everything else changes. This never changes. So, interestingly, while quick commerce firms that got labeled as quick commerce, if you see all around us, things are coming to home and they're coming fast. Forget us. Milk is coming fast. The medicines have. If you look at the medicines, they used to come like next day or not at all. Today, you can legitimately get within 1 hour some medicine to come to your doorsteps. So that phenomena, and it is very, very apart from forget about the supply and economics and everything. Just look at our cities. Who wants to be out there buying anything? It's a pain to go take your car, find parking, फिर वो कुछ उसको कोई गाड़ी को कोई कर देगा, scratch मार देगा, कुछ हो जाएगा फिर. So for small transactions, I don't think people are going to step out at all. They will want things fast and they want it home. Anyway, this is a much longer topic. I can go on and on.
It is time for a short break. On the other side, we have Ruchira Jaitley of Diageo India, who spoke on integrating purpose into core brand ethos and strategy, along with Microsoft's Alok Lall speaking about the role of tech in journey towards sustainability. Welcome back. Storyboard18's Power of Purpose Sustainability Edition, which was held in New Delhi recently, was graced by prominent industry leaders, from policymakers and business leaders to individuals leading from the front lines. They all came together to share impactful stories and pivotal conversations to set the agenda for a sustainable future. Up next, we have two interesting conversations lined up. Ruchira Jaitley, CMO of Diageo India, who spoke on integrating purpose into core brand ethos and strategy, along with Alok Lall, COO Microsoft India and South Asia, who's speaking about the role of tech in journey towards sustainability. We also caught up with Mohit Joshi, CEO Havas Media Network India, who was one of the key attendees, and he spoke on the true power of purpose.
Premiumization is a big trend across FMCG over the past year and a half, maybe. So how has purpose, driven the consumer preference when it comes to selection of some of your alcohol beverages?
Yeah, so there is very, very strong evidence that tells us that purposeful brands drive far greater engagement, even in a category like ours. And I'm sure that's true, by the way, of many, many categories. Many examples tell us about that. Johnny Walker, right? And Walkers & Co. Walkers & Co. actually celebrates individuals who are bold boundary pushers, who are pushing for social impact while asserting their identity. But they also look at it as collective progress. How do you take more people along, and how do you make more people walk further, rather than just about me and my identity and me being the achiever? This is a luxury or a premium brand which is talking about people we typically see on the street via an art project that reclaims social spaces, big spaces. And they were just recently at the Venice Biennale, where the whole world went crazy about the art they were putting up. And I like to think that we enable them to go out and capture spaces like the Venice Biennale and not just about, India and the roads. So that's one example. Another example is Black and White. Black and White is a global brand. We have launched extensions on the trademark. But Black and White has always stood for sharing your most authentic self, bringing different diverse views to the table. And that's an interesting kind of a metaphor because the table is also where you have food. So we've done programs like Table for Everyone, where you get food and influences from across the country. You sit with people you don't know. You share experiences, your thoughts, your opinion, and your attitudes. I think in a world like ours, we want to see more of this vision. Hisham spoke about it, right? Yeah. You want to see those little, how do you say it? Those points of light, right? So this is a point of light about saying, how do we become a more inclusive and a progressive society? We don't have to close doors against the way people think. Now, the interesting one is, at a time when in the US, people are talking about the fact that who has control about the way a woman thinks or wants to do things. This is a creative that we put out in India, which was actually one of the reasons why this brand and the trademark scorched growth. These are creatives we've made in India, Shibani, on some of global brands. And we're talking about things that are actually changing the face we look at society. The last piece that I'm going to talk about while we talk about purpose and brands made purposeful by design. That's a brand called Godawan. And for all of you here, if you want to step out and try that drink, it's one of an award-winning drinks across the world. Like you, maybe, I certainly did not know what Godawan stood for till this whiskey was launched. It is actually the name of the great Indian bustard, the Indian name for the great Indian bustard, which is an endangered species. It is more endangered today than the tiger, which is a fact that I'm ashamed to say I didn't know about, right? Now, we've worked in a water-scarce region like Rajasthan at a distillery in Alwar to create this craft single malt whiskey. But we've done it in a way that's conserved water, and we've won the only award for Asia, in Asia, for a distillery, which is the Alliance for Water Stewardship, right? At this distillery in Rajasthan. 98% of the energy at this distillery will be renewable, right? We work with communities there where more than 50% of what we put out is CSR, which is the money that we get from when you buy this liquid, goes back into the conservation of the bird and into empowering women in local communities, right? So this is not something that we do, like I said, we do it by design. We don't do it because it's a nice thing to do or whatever. So
not like merely a lip service, but you actually do it by design.
So this brand is now, has won many, many awards across the globe. It is being sold currently as we speak in New York, Dubai, London, Singapore, etc., etc. France, at Cannes. We were part of the India Pavilion because we believe that as India, we can come back with equally good solutions on how business can build back for local communities and otherwise.
So from whatever conversations that I have had with many of the business leaders in the past, it's very clear that sustainability is indeed the bedrock for a future-ready company. And being one of the most valuable companies in the world, so to speak, today, Alok, if you can tell us any specific strategies that you have in place to balance out, your growth objectives with your sustainability goals.
On the sustainability front, we've been working on this since 2009, and in 2012 we became carbon neutral. And over the years, we continue to enhance just what is it that should be the charter that a tech organization should carry. So in 2020, we announced our sustainability goals, which is to be carbon negative by 2030, water positive, and zero waste by 2030. And we want to protect more land than we use, which means, for all the owned or rented infrastructure that we have, including data centers, we need to protect more land and, provide watershed areas and water scarce environments. That's the goal that we are working towards. And by 2050, we want to remove all the carbon that we've emitted as an organization since the inception of Microsoft in 1975. So ambitious goals, and we are steadfast on that commitment.
We all know, all of us know that, every big tech player out there is in the arms race for AI supremacy. Everyone is flexing their AI muscles. But let me ask you, how is AI helping in your journey towards sustainability?
That's a great question, and you often see headlines that saying AI consumes so much power. So companies that are providing these services really need to be held accountable for, the energy requirements as well as the heat that the infrastructure generates. So, despite all of the enhancements and advancements around AI that Microsoft's been talking about, we're still steadfast on our goal to 2030. It does put us to rethink just how we build our infrastructure and our services. So 3 or 4 areas that I wanted to call out. The first one is, how do we fundamentally design data centers, infrastructure, cooling that allows us to consume less electricity and less water? That is something that we've been working towards, and we believe that we have a great path for us to be able to help our customers take advantage of that. The second area is our commitment to renewable energy. So in order for us to get to be carbon negative by 2030, we have to move all our infrastructure to renewable energy by 2025. So by end of next year, 100% of our infrastructure will be on renewable energy. And we're investing in wind, solar, and we've just announced partnership on using a nuclear power plant to be able to fuel our data centers. So that's one part, which is how do we look at a non-carbon source of energy to be able to run our infrastructure. The third area is, what can AI do to help businesses and organizations use lesser amount of energy or be able to get to outcomes faster? 2 areas that I want to talk about. The first one is weather. All of us are talking about the weather patterns being changing, intensity of storms going up. How do you use AI to predict weather better? And we've released a model which is open source that allows customers to be able to take that data and incorporate that and be able to predict weather with a higher degree of accuracy. And the last area is, how do you use AI for physics, chemistry, and biology, which is material science, for example, which is how do you create a battery for that uses less lithium. So we've been able to work with a laboratory to find a stable material that uses 70% less lithium, which means it can be made more affordable. So lots of avenues, not just of what we do within our infrastructure, our products and services, but how do we make it really something that's valuable for customers to take forward.
For 15 years, we've been coming out with something called Meaningful Brand Study. And 15 years back when we did it, we realized that 80% of the brands could disappear tomorrow and consumers would not even care. And it's only the 20% of the brands that are actually making a meaningful relationship with their consumers. And this meaningfulness or purposefulness is what is required to be built in each and every brand. In my view, the P's of marketing have changed and purpose has become a very, very important element over there.
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, X and YouTube. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time next week. See you soon.